Oh, there we go.
Welcome to the Holistic Kids Show. My name is Zane.
My name's Abdullah.
And my name's Imad.
We're here to educate and empower us kids from the inside out.
They can wake up when they want, eat what they want, and make their own rules. Buy what they want, and don't even have curfew.
Yeah, those are adults. And that's not fair. I want to be an adult. I'm tired of being a kid.
Well, this is a perfect time to grow into an adult. And you are in luck. We have the perfect guest here to help us learn on how we can become an adult, as she has written the New York Times best-selling book about how to raise an adult. Julie Lythcott-Haims is a author, speaker, teacher, mentor, and an activist. She is the New York Times best-selling author of How to Raise an Adult, which gave rise to a popular TED Talk that has over 2 million views. Her second book is a memoir, Real American, which illustrates her experience as a Black and biracial person in white spaces. Her third book, Your Turn, How to Be an Adult, has been called a groundbreaking frank guide to adulthood. Julie holds degrees from Stanford, Harvard Law, and California College of Arts. She currently serves on multiple advisory boards. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Abdullah and Zane and Imad. It's a pleasure to be with you, and I can't wait to hear your questions. Your little intro was absolutely hilarious. Nicely done.
It's our pleasure.
It's our pleasure.
It's our pleasure.
Are you related or are you friends?
We're related.
We're related.
Really?
We're brothers.
Brothers. You do have a dynamic between the three of you that is very captivating as a stranger for me to watch and observe.
Miss Julia, how did you go from studying Stanford and Harvard Law to specializing in parenting?
Well, I didn't really do that. I don't specialize in parenting. I specialize in what helps humans thrive. And it turns out that there was a method of parenting that was getting in the way of children and young adults thriving. So I wrote a book that looks like it's a parenting book. The first one you mentioned, How to Raise an Adult, Break Free of the Overparenting Trap and Prepare Your Kid for Success. But I'm not a parenting expert. I wrote that book because I was a university dean, an administrator, a helper, a staff person whose job was to care about my students who were 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. And I was observing that too many of them were still being treated like they were small children by their parents. So because my job was to root for my students to become these independent, free-thinking adults who could chart their own course in life and solve their own problems and become who they wanted to become, I realized there was a certain type of parenting that was getting in the way of my students thriving. So that's why I wrote that book.
That is amazing. And Miss Julie, today, despite parents trying their hardest, kids are still struggling. What do you think is going on with the families today?
Well, where I live, which is in Silicon Valley in California in the US, we have a lot of families who think that it is the job of parents to handle every minute detail of a child's life. So they're waking you up. They're putting your clothes on you. They're with you in the bathroom as you're cleaning your teeth and your face. They are making sure that your homework is in your backpack, making sure that you bring your backpack to school. If you forget it, they will bring it for you. When you do your homework in the afternoon after school, they might sit there with you and kind of sort of do a little bit of it with you. Sometimes they're doing it for you. None of you, but other kids have parents doing their homework for them. Why? Because the parents are so worried that if the homework isn't perfect, my child won't get the right grade and they won't have the right future. So there's a lot of micromanaging of kids every moment, tracking your deadlines, deciding when you can play and with whom and so on. There's a lot of control that we put forth. We think it's very loving. But what happens is when a young person has too much handled or managed for them and they don't learn to do those things, to be responsible for waking up, to be responsible for their own body and belongings, to be responsible for their own work, when they don't learn that, they develop a helplessness. Psychologically, they sort of know, I'm not really living this life. My parents are living my life for me. And while it looks lovingly intended because the parents are helping, it's undermining the development of what's called agency. It's a psychological term, agency. Undermines agency in kids. It also undermines resilience, which is the ability to bounce back when things go wrong. Because here's the point, guys. Things will go wrong. Parents aren't supposed to be preventing all the things from going wrong. They're supposed to sit with kids and say, oh, wow, how are you doing? Are you all right? I love you. Do you want to talk about it? What do you think you might do differently next time? Let's go get some dinner. Okay. Instead of acting like every little thing that goes wrong in a child's life is going to ruin their future. Therefore, we have to make sure it doesn't happen. So we're harming our kids by not letting them develop skills, agency, resilience, and all of that. When we don't have agency and resilience, that can harm our mental health. It can lead to anxiety and depression.
That's horrible. And
Horrible.
And I thought there was like one type of parenting. But is there one type of good parenting and everything else is bad, or are there multiple kinds of parenting that can be beneficial?
There are multiple kinds. And according to the people who study this, the person whose research I looked at is named Diana Baumrind. And I'm going to quickly draw a chart to try to illustrate it, just since we're on visual. Basically, parents are supposed to be providing expectations and, rules. And they're also supposed to care a lot about kids. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to draw this little chart that shows you the 4 types of parenting. Okay. So we're supposed to have both rules and expectations. This is the right type of parenting. We have a lot of expectations in terms of holding you accountable to do your chores and be good people, develop a good character, work hard. But we're also supposed to care deeply about you. Sorry, not rules. Sorry. Expectations and care. Sorry, I'm live. Get a little nervous. Okay. So that's the good type of parenting. It's called being an authoritative parent. Okay. These other types are bad in that if you have no expectations and you don't care, you're neglectful. That means your kid isn't really getting any attention, no expectations, no care. We don't want to be neglectful. Up here, high expectations with not much care. That's called authoritarian. Authoritative is good. Authoritarian is bad because they just have high expectations and they don't care. So they're very mean, that type of parent. And then over here, lots of care and no expectations. This is the permissive parent who looks like the kid's best friend, but is not setting any expectations. So these are the 4 types. And let me try to get it in front of the camera here so that viewers can see. And it's all reversed, so it's hard for me to do it. But we're all supposed to be aiming for this sweet spot up here, which is high expectations around our kids' character and behavior and work ethic, but also a lot of care and interest in how the child is doing and feeling and so forth. Helicopter parents, if I may say so, are one of these 2 types. They're either authoritarian, which is you will be a doctor, you will play the piano for the rest of your life, you will do what I say in terms of your work, or the permissive type over here, which is like, I'll help you do everything, I'll bring anything you've forgotten, I'll talk to the coach, I'll talk to the teacher, I'll handle it, I'll just, I'll be your handler, I'll fix life for you. And both of those are very lovingly intended, but they end up undermining kids, as I've said.
So what does an over-parenting parent look like, and what is the effect of parenting
Um, so an
or
overparenting,
overparenting?
yeah. Overparenting looks like either overprotective, which is they always have to know where you are. They have to be able to see you at all times. They have to track you by GPS. Um, and it's the effect of that is the child can feel so watched, so observed. They sort of lose any sense of privacy, any sense of ability to make their own decisions. It's like, I don't have to, use good judgment out in the world because I know my parent is tracking me on an app and they're just going to text me and say, don't go there, don't go there. Right. The kid is sort of going through the motions of life, really being steered and watched by parents. And that's creepy. And the kid doesn't develop the skills of how to cope and make good choices when they're away, when the parents aren't watching. The fiercely directive type is the type that says, I joked earlier, you'll be a doctor, you'll play piano forever, you'll be a whatever. This is the parent who almost says, if you study these things, then I will love you. Right. So we end up forcing our kids to be doctors or lawyers or engineers or whatever it may be. And the kid goes down that path. But then the kid is one day when they're grown, resentful of the parent, and has been deprived of becoming the woodworker or the wilderness naturalist or the EMT who saves people's lives in ambulances or whatever other career, because there are infinite careers that the young person might have been interested in, but the family wouldn't let them. The third type is the parent who's so overly helpful that they're almost like the child's administrative assistant or secretary or assistant. It's like, don't worry, I will just make sure nothing ever goes wrong. You don't forget anything. You're always on time for and what happens there is the kid doesn't learn how to do any of that for themselves. So then one day they are 21 or 25 and they've made it to college and they're in graduate school or they're in the workplace and they really haven't had the practice opportunities of in life, like, well, how do I make sure I remember my stuff? And how do I talk to the landlord? And how do I shop for groceries? And how do I clean my house? Because everything's been handled in childhood. They're not prepared to kind of be freestanding adults.
Yeah, and a lot of kids, what happens is they want to do after parenting, they want to do the opposite of what the parents are saying. So if the parents are saying work hard, do all this stuff, they'll do the exact opposite because they want to defy their parents because they've never done that.
Right. That could happen too. So you get kids who are like, to heck with this, I'm leaving. They're rebelling because they think this isn't right. And in some ways, when that happens, I'm excited for the kid because I know they're feeling agency. I talked about how important agency is. Agency is that sense we need to have within our minds of I can do things. If we're overhelped, we can be deprived of developing that sense of I can. So a kid who's so sick of it that they're rebelling, in some ways, they're showing up saying like, this is my life. I can do things. And you're trying to control everything. So I'm going to leave because I'm sick of that, right? I'm not advocating that kids rebel and leave home, but I am saying there's a little kernel of hope in there that at least the kid knows that they have the right to their own existence.
And that's hard. Parents, I hope you guys are listening because authoritarian parenting is detrimental to our health.
Absolutely. I hope parents are listening because authoritarian parenting is detrimental, as is the permissive parenting that's sort of always helpful and never expecting that your kid is going to learn. Look, kids, you're supposed to learn everything the adults know how to do. Okay. You're not supposed to have it all handled for you forever. You're supposed to start to learn to do more and more for yourself. And the skills y'all need at 9 are, remember your own backpack, put your homework in your bag, start to fill out your own forms when you're applying for some summer camp or what it might be. By the time how old did you say you are, Abdullah? 14?
14, yes.
14, right? You want to be, okay, if I need some medications, I can call, the pharmacy and get them for myself. Or if I need to make a doctor's appointment, I can do that. If I need to travel somewhere, maybe I can be the one who looks up the options for my travel. Like, we want to be teaching our kids every little thing so that when they do get to 18 and out of the house, out of high school, they have skills.
Yeah, and Zan has people in his class that are so stressed, right, Zan?
Yeah, they're so stressed that if they get good grades, they get into good colleges whose self-worth is determined on their grades. And like their parents, if they get like a B, they get really angry.
That makes me really sad. There are kids in my community who also live in that kind of circumstance where it's almost like the child's worth is their grades. So if the grades are high, then the child is regarded as worthwhile, a good child. And if the kid's getting a B or worse, they're like, well, you know, you're worth less. Well, the other way to say worth less is worthless. None of us wants to feel worthless. None of us wants to feel like, oh, I didn't do so well in this class. Do my parents still love me? My goodness, that hurts our heart. It hurts our spirit. When kids are struggling, that's when we're supposed to sit down with our kid, and a B is not a struggle, by the way. But if a kid's getting C's, D's, and F's, we can sit down and say, hey, let's talk about what's going on. We work hard in this family. We want you to find what you love and get better at it. So tell us what's going on in school. Instead of why did you get that grade, it should be sitting with the kid and being compassionate about what's going on, such that it appears you're not thriving in school, because what we care about is you thriving, not you getting an A.
How can a child help themselves in that situation?
Well, I think the younger you are, the harder it is to help yourself across the board. But with every year, you get more confident and you get stronger and you get more independent. So I think what we can always do, really, regardless of our age, is sit down with a parent and say, when you do this or when you say this, it makes me feel whatever. So you're helping parents understand the impact of their words or the impact of their expectations. I advise older students, older children who are 15, 16, 17, when they're getting ready to talk about what I might want to study after high school. Do I want to go to the workplace? Do I want to go to college? What do I want for my career? And they know that they have hopes and dreams that aren't aligned with their parents. This is an important time to have a very respectful conversation with parents where you let parents know, I love you, I appreciate you, I'm grateful, and I have some thoughts about my life that might be different than what you have in mind for me. You can't have that conversation with your parent very easily when you're 9 or maybe even 14, but 18, yes. 22, yes. 25, yes.
Kids go from school to one game to another and to another and have no unstructured time. Unstructured time. Is that healthy for kids?
No, it is not. The people who study what's most healthy for kids is a guy named Dr. Peter Gray. And his wisdom is all around the importance of play. I kind of like that his last name rhymes with what he does for a living. He says that what's most essential for children in terms of their wellness and their ability to develop cognitively, emotionally, in terms of skills, what's most important is free play. Not even a structured play where the adults are deciding what you do. It's children hanging out with children doing whatever they want, as long as it's not illegal or going to kill them. Kids playing freely with each other is good for kids. It's also good for all primates. We're primates, right? We're part of the animal classification known as primates, like all these other primates, like baboons and chimpanzees and gorillas, right? Primates, young primates, all need to play. Okay, even beyond primates, other animals do. We are animals, and it's good for young animals to play with one another, because that's how we learn to negotiate understanding, rules, boundaries. That's how we learn to cooperate. Oh, I got to be kind if they're going to keep playing with me. Otherwise, they're going to go home, right? This is how we learn to be human, by freely playing with other humans. And a lot of adults mistakenly think, oh, that's frivolous. That's a waste of time. Their math or their science or their English or their history, whatever, is more important. these things do matter, but they're not more important than free play. Just like sleep is really important. But a lot of people think, oh, we'll work really hard now in school. We won't get enough sleep. Then we'll get to the right future and then we can sleep. No, that's not how it works. The right amount of sleep every night, every week, from young until old is essential. So we don't want to be compromising sleep. We don't want to be compromising dinner. We don't want to be compromising free play. So we have to say how much time is left for the activities and the sports, right? There are only so many hours in a day, and some of them got to be filled with friends, and some of them got to be filled with sleep.
So we have our chores when we wake up. We clean, make the lunches, dishes, laundry, and basically whatever needs to be done. I know my friends don't really do chores. Are chores really important, or is my mom just using it as for free labor?
Okay, first of all, I think I'm saying your name wrong. Will you spell it for me?
Mine?
Yeah.
Zain. It's pronounced Zane.
Okay, I thought so, but I think one of your brothers had a nickname for you maybe that he was using.
Oh.
Yeah, that's just like a...
Okay, got you. I thought I had...
kind of thing. That's accent, kind of.
Okay, I thought I had said it wrong. So I am correct in calling you Zane, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and also, why are chores important?
Yeah, no, I'm getting to it. Don't worry. You're lucky that your mom is making you do chores. Here's why. Chores teach you a lot of things that are going to be super useful when you get out in the world. They teach you, all right, I got to roll up my sleeves, get my hands dirty in the garbage, the recycling. I got to do the laundry, whatever. That teaches you when you join a workplace, when you go to college, when you live in an apartment with other people your age, like there's unpleasant work to be done. I have to help. Okay. You'll be that person who's like, okay, you know, why don't I take the laundry while you do the dishes, right? I'll do the garbage and the recycle. Like, you'll know humans are expected to help. Chores teach you that. And that awareness is super valuable in the workplace because in the workplace, it translates to, how can I be useful around here? In my house, I had to do this, that, and the other every day. In my workplace, how can I support my colleagues and my boss in getting kind of the whole thing done? So chores teach you a work ethic, which is going to mean you're the kind of employee, the kind of colleague, the kind of partner in a family sense who people really respect and appreciate.
Sorry, kids. Yes, chores are good.
Let me tell you one more thing, Abdullah. Chores help you feel a sense of belonging to your family. It's like, I got to do this. You got to do this. You got to do this. You know, the adults, they got to do this. Like, we all contribute to making this place function. And that gives us a sense of satisfaction. Even if the work isn't fun or pleasant or stinky, you know, it still makes us feel like, okay, I'm a part of this. I belong. I have my family membership card, as one of my favorite authors, Micheline Duclef, likes to put it.
And I have like 4 years until I become an adult. What other skills are needed for us kids to become successful, resilient adults?
Well, you got to be able to do things like take care of your body, your bills, and your business. So you want to make sure you're knowing how to groom yourself, right? Your hair, your teeth, your face, like all the washing and stuff, the taking care of the body, but also then the clothes. And can you not only do the laundry, but fold it so that it's neatly put away in the shelves so that when you get it out, you're not putting on wrinkled clothes. So when you go out and present yourself to the world, you look like someone who cares about themselves and their appearance. That's very personal. And they're very practical things like, do you know how to comfortably find your way around town and cross streets and take public transportation or use some kind of vehicle to get yourself places? Like, you've got to be able to move out into the world and with a confidence that I can figure it out. I might not have all the answers, you know, and figure it out is I'll look at the map and figure out where I need to be. Not I'll text mom and she'll tell me where I need to go. Because one day you guys are going to be the grown-ups, you know, and you'll have kids of your own and you got to know how to be able to do things for yourself, not just rely on the older generation to like, don't worry, I'll handle it for you. Obviously, we want our family to show up for us when there's an emergency, when there are certain things only a parent can handle, but we want to get our kids more and more competent and capable. Here's another example. We want you to be able to make food. grocery shop, know how long things last before they rot and spoil and get moldy, know how to cook things safely on the stove, know how to do all that. Those are basic skills. And sometimes we think that's less important than academics, but you can't be someone who's just an A+ academic student and doesn't know how to do any of the stuff of life, because you'll be useless out there.
Can we talk quickly about how parents and now kids are stuck on their phones? Parents now kids are stuck on their phones and computers.
Sure. What do you want to talk about?
So is it beneficial for kids and parents to be on their phones and computers? Because now kids are disconnected, right? So how can we fix that connection?
Yeah, I think we need to have a few rules, like no phones at dinner, no phones if we go out to a restaurant, right? Phones for only a certain, like, phones are important. Phones are a connection to information and community, friends, and all that. But it can also be a place where we just get lost. And next thing you know, you've been on TikTok or Instagram for hours, right? So everything in moderation. So I think as families, we have to set our own rules and boundaries about, we use phones for, during this time of day or only after we've done this or that. And there are certain times and places where we say no phones, because what we're centering, meaning what we're valuing, is face-to-face human communication, which is like gold for humans. We need this. We need those dinner time conversations. We need those rolling around in the family room, just laughing with each other, playing some board games or some cards or whatever. We need a little bit of interaction that's a little bit more old-fashioned. We want to be sure we don't lose that in a world where technology is so present.
Yeah, and so we talked about how we talked about the things to help a kid become a successful, resilient adult. Is there things that adults can help kids with to become these adults?
Yeah. So there's a 4-step method for teaching any kid any skill. I've talked about how you have to learn how to cross the street and make a meal. So let me walk through the 4-step method. As parents, first we are doing it for our kids. Then we're supposed to do it with our kids. Then we're supposed to watch them do it. And then only then can they do it independently. So doing it, let's look at cross the street. We've got to say to in the beginning, we're doing it for them. We're carrying you across the street. Okay. You're in our arms. That's step 1. Step 2, I'm sorry, I'm getting confused because it's a reverse screen and it's hard to know what's what. Okay. Step 2 is you do it for them, you do it with them as step 2. This is where you say to your little 5-year-old, okay, we're going to start to practice crossing the street. I'm going to hold your hand and I'm going to teach you how to know when it's safe to cross. And you're going to teach your kid how to look each way on the street, and you're talking very slowly. You're teaching. Parents can't do this when they're in a hurry, which is part of the problem with parents. Okay. So you do step 2 enough times that you can say to your kid, okay, now it's time for you to do it. I'm still here just in case. You let go of your kid's hand and you say, I want to hear you talk out loud about whether it's safe to cross the street. And that's when our little ones will say, okay, I look left to right, and they go too quickly. And if you say, no, slow down. We're still there in step 3 to teach. Slow down, buddy. Look longer. Are you sure? Okay, you're still there for just in case. Step 4, the kid can cross the street by themselves. Not when they're 5, maybe, depending on where they live, but 8, 9, right? Certainly 14. But there are a lot of 14-year-olds who are afraid to cross streets because parents have never taught them. And what can happen is parents get impatient and say, well, wait a minute. Look, parents don't know about steps 2 and 3. Okay, so they're like, I've done it for my kid, and now I expect them to be able to do it for themselves. Parents have forgotten to teach it and to watch the kid do it to make sure they're safe, right? So we can't, as parents, jump from step 1 to step 4. We can't be mad at our kids that we deprive them of teaching them in steps 2 and 3.
Thank you so much. That was so powerful.
Thank you. Thank you, Zain and Abdullah and Imad.
So where can people learn more about you and your work and your books?
Well, thank you. I'm on social media where I try to interact with people, and I'm J Lythcott-Haims wherever social media is found, including TikTok. J, my first initial, last name, no hyphen, J Lythcott-Haims. You can go to my website to learn about my books, Julie Lythcott-Haims, no hyphen, julielythcott-haims.com. You can learn about my books and kind of a little bit more about me. I love to connect with people, so please do follow me and engage and connect in whatever ways you'd like to.
That was so empowering. Everyone make sure to follow Miss Julie on social media. And her books are a must get.
I love y'all. This is great. I wish I could be on podcasts with kids every single week. Seriously.
It's our pleasure.
It's our pleasure. Thank you so much, Miss Julie. We know that you're so busy, so we're so honored that you are here with us today.
Well, it's been my pleasure.
Let's recap Miss Julie's key points.
Thank you, parents, for keeping us safe. But it hurts us when you put too many guardrails and too many fences. Go wrong. And it's undermining our development, our agency, and our resilience. So please stop over-parenting us. Kids need to grow into adults, and things can go wrong by helping to become adult independent and need the skills and to know you are there for us.
We need to play and in structure time to play, where we decide what we want to play. Play actually improves our immune system, increases something called BDNF that is important for kids' brains. It helps us focus and improves our self-esteem.
Kids, I know you don't want to, and parents don't want to either. So work with your caregivers.
Good job.
To do chores around the house. Learn these life skills. We make our own lunches, to do the laundry, dishes, clean the house, choose and iron our clothes. Help with meals all before we go to school in the morning. We divide up our chores so it's not so bad.
That was awesome, Imad. And let me say that the word you were struggling with is caregivers, right? So caregivers, parents plus, maybe grandparents, maybe aunties, uncles, friends of the family, anybody looking after a child. That's the word you were going for there.
Learn basic skills about how to take care of your body, bills, and business. Have family rules, especially around technology, and help kids come up with their own solutions. If we are too tired in the morning to do our chores, we come up with solutions to sleep earlier. My mom calls it real life consequences.
You know what? I want to say something here. Sometimes people think that those real life consequences are mean. And I'm really with your mom on this. We're not at all trying to be mean. We're trying to be so loving that we're teaching you how life works and how you can thrive leading your own life. So sometimes in the short term, it can feel like, ouch, that consequence didn't feel good. But that tiny little ouch means your brain learns, okay, next time I got to do it differently. And you will. And that's how you grow.
Parents, talk to us. When we are present, look into our eyes, not your phones. Ask us how our days are going. Talk to us about world events. Listen to our opinion. We love having family dinners together. And also, you should find your purpose and your voice. Celebrate who you are. You're unique and amazing. Thank you again, Miss Julie.
It has been a pleasure. Where do y'all live?
Chicago.
We should tell you.
Chicago. Okay, so I'm talking to you from California. A couple hours. What did you say?
He said we
should
don't
not
talk
tell-
this straight. We don't tell your stuff to strangers.
Oh.
Stranger danger.
Yeah, but Chicago's a big place. It's not like I could come and find you and harm you.
Well, it's not even Chicago. It's Chicagoland.
Okay. You know, I was just talking in Chicagoland the other day, virtually. So I was in the Glenbard area. So I love Chicagoland. I used to live in Wisconsin land, which is like 2 hours north of you.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Until next time, I'm Zansari.
I'm Abdullah.
And I'm Ahmad.
Follow my family and I on social media. Holistic Mom D, and look out for my mom's book, The Holistic RX, Your Guide to Healing Chronic Inflammation and Disease. And we're so happy to announce our mom's new book, The Holistic RX, Your Guide to Healing Chronic Inflammation and Disease. The Holistic RX for Kids, Parenting Healthy Brains and Bodies in a Changing World. And the amazing children's book we wrote together called Adam's Healing Adventure, The Power of Rainbow Foods. So check it out on Amazon. Yay! Kids need to learn from other kids. Please download our podcast on iTunes and leave a review so other kids and families can benefit. We need to work together to create a healthier future for all of us and the planet. Join us next week for another episode of The Holistic Kid Show, where kids are empowering kids. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.